Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Bonsoir, Madame et Monsieur, et Mike Ivesil, et Sean Baligian, Hockey sur Glace. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you, bud? How's that pork butt?
You know, it was pretty good, and I forgot to take you a picture. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Did it get darker?
That was yeah, it did. That was, you know what? That was kind of asshole of me. I'm sorry. I took you a picture of like before it went in. And then, I should have taken a picture. Jack and I destroyed it. It was 4 pounds. We literally destroyed it. Like, no joke. No joke. So it was a smaller one, so it took less time. And I think that's probably, unless we're having like one of our big things, that's probably the way to go is do the smaller ones. All right, I see you're doing the same thing right now. Oh, Red Wings. I'm just going to say, oh, Red Wings. Playoffs are nigh. How's that? Playoffs. Yep. Are nigh. That's what I'll do there. So I sent that one out. Welcome. Are you surprised? Can I start with this? Because I think you and I are similar in this regard. Long gone are the days where I try to debate with people and go back and forth on social media, because in the history of mankind, I'm convinced there are zero minds that have been changed in a social media argument. I'm convinced there are just zero minds, and nobody's ever changed their mind in a social media argument. What I have done the last few days, Mike, is I have perused so many different things, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm really taken aback. I don't know if it's. I don't know. Is it, what's the best way to say it? Is it loyalty to the icon, which I totally understand? Is it they choose to be delusional, or do they really believe it? I've seen so much of that stuff. I saw a guy today, and this one really grabbed me, Mike. And I'm not going to say his name, and I'm sure somebody will know who it is, because I think this person is a well-known person. I don't know. They said, let me try to remember as close to the exact quote as I can. Steve Yzerman has done a real good job of collecting high-end talent. And Mike, as God is my witness, I almost responded, and I was like, there's nothing good that's going to come from this. Not one person is going to say you're right or anything like that. But I'm going to say it again, Mike. I think it bears repeating. There is Mo Seider right now, today, April 8th. There is Mo Seider and nobody else. And I mean that from the depths of my soul. There is Mo Seider and nobody else. If you want to say that player A, B, C, D, E, F, G can get to that point, that's fine. I can't tell you you're wrong. Today, in my mind, if you're using the term high end, okay, and I think everybody would probably define the term high end in a similar manner. If you're asking me who the high end Red Wings are, it's a list of one.
Okay. I would add, I think Alex DeBrincat has become an elite goal scorer. I would put him there, but the rest of them, I just don't see anything to their game that would put me anywhere else. The only one I would add would be DeBrincat.
And I will, how can I say this? All right, let me make sure I did unsyndicated. I did What the Puck. So now I have to do off the air. I want to get back to DeBrincat in a second, because that was one that I struggled with. And this is where maybe we'll go with the definition, if that makes sense. Okay. Hold on. Let me send this out there. There's off the air. Hi. Red Wings, and playoffs are nigh. I'm just putting the same damn thing, and I'll do Twitter in just a second. Okay. Let's get to a couple of these comments, because I'd love to get into the DeBrincat thing. Ray said, who gets the blame for this year's collapse? I think the answer is one name. Mike, I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Oh,
I think
it's the man that has constructed this whole plan of what this team is. And I'm not going to get into what I think of the scouting or anything like that, because this is all under his watch. That's his team. Those are his people, and this is what he wants, and it's there. And that's the man that I would blame.
I would too. I don't think there's any other blame. Somebody was trying to tell me it was Todd McClellan's fault today, and that Todd McClellan has a history of wearing down on guys because he's so demanding. And I guess that's a case of both things can be true. But I want to remind everybody, we are now on the second handpicked coach by the general manager, the second handpicked coach. And Mike, you and I have been singing this tune for a long time now. If three coaches are saying similar things, if not now, when? I'm trying to get the message through to these guys. These guys have to understand you have to play 60 minutes. Are all three coaches wrong? Seriously, are all three coaches wrong? And I think the answer to that is a resounding no.
No. I think it gets into whether it was you that retweeted or I put it out to you, the comment I think it was Cop put out there about all the they're gutless on the ice. I think they just showed right there how mentally weak they are.
Gosh.
The construction of this team physically and mentally, just they missed the boat on it. Hey, it can happen, but that wearing down on you, you are underperforming. Someone's got to put a fire in your butt. Like, what are we doing?
You've lost 5 of 6, and more often than not, you've lost them in ugly manner. And even the game you had the raucous comeback in, Easter Sunday, Mike, that was deplorable for 2 periods. They had 6 shots in 36 minutes. And then Showtime takes one of the dumbest penalties I've seen in a long, long time in hockey. And I made the comment, that one pissed me off, I think, as much as any of the recent losses. And I'm very sincere when I say that.
Yeah, that was bad. I felt Kane's response in the media pissed me off even more. I thought that was just so I don't even know what the term is. Like that was so ungenuine. His response, I don't think it bothered him for a second. The one that bothered me, and we were going back and forth last night, I was trying to take you out of your Montreal game there when we were talking last night, was last night. You had a team in Columbus that had mustered 26 shots, I think, in their last 2 games, and you did that. And the game-winning goal in the shootout was from the frickin' slot, Sean. Now, it was a BB. It was from the slot, a wrist shot, snapshot from the – come on. That one did it.
Can I want to get to ASP in a second too. Don't let me forget. Can I tell you where my thought process was on the Alex DeBrincat thing? Okay. What defined high-end talent? Do you know how I would define that? I would say you are top 10 at your position. Just one man's opinion. That's top 10 at one man's position. And my mitigating factor for DeBrincat is he's tied for 10th in goal scoring. He's right on the cusp. Does that make sense? He's really come on. And you got to remember, he doesn't have a real facilitator here right now either. And he needs a facilitator. Alex DeBrincat is a guy that needs a facilitator, okay? And so that's why I have him right on the brink. But Mike, that's it. I would say in the general vicinity and Mo Seider. And I mean this when I say, I don't know if you agree or disagree. If you and I have had this conversation, I think that Mo Seider's a top 10 defenseman now. I do. Again, I don't think he's ever going to win a Norris because those voters like shiny things, okay? And I don't think he's going to put up enough points and shiny things. But if you're talking about an all-around game, a damn good defenseman, I'd put him in the top 10. I have no problem saying that.
Absolutely not. He has really come into himself this year. And when you're talking about game in, game out, someone that's showing up on this roster, it's him. I think he is showing up. And I think his partner Edvinsson has also done a great job. But Mo Seider is elite.
Sean, is there a damn thing to be excited about this time? Not much. can I get to ASP and the checks that were written for ASP? And Mike, I want to be crystal clear. I'm not writing the guy off. I'm not saying it's never going to happen or anything like that. I'll say what I said on Woodward this morning. I would get him on a weight training program. I would, because he has not shown himself to be as elusive as the slight Quinn Hughes or Lane Hudson. And I would also go talk to Fat Bastard from Austin Powers fame and see if they could find him some mojo, because he looks like a guy whose confidence is shaken last night. I go back to that first goal last night, Mike, and you know the old adage, it's not the mistake, it's the recovery, okay? You get muscled off the puck. You get out physical, which in other news, the sun will rise tomorrow morning, okay? And it's not the mistake, it's the recovery. How did he recover? By promptly turning the puck over. And that's the kind of stuff. I remember I said it months ago to you, and I told some of the guys I work with, he didn't belong in the National Hockey League. And there's a reason why he was benched so long, and there was a reason why they sent him back down to the AHL. Again, I'm not writing him off, but Mike, I think it's safe to say this is a kid that doesn't belong in the NHL right now.
No, and I didn't put all the blame on him on that goal. I blame the ref, because the ref should have called ASP for interference, and the play should have been dead when he actually touched the puck. So he shouldn't have turned it over. I don't know how he didn't get interference there, but we've been talking about this for a while, Sean. They needed to pull the plug on it. The kid had no confidence. He was playing like a kid with talent, but in a men's league. They needed to develop him more. My fear with that is I really haven't seen a lot of people go to Grand Rapids and actually develop a game and then show up even better. But he needs to be shut down and developed somewhere else before he's absolutely obliterated.
Ray said, did the Olympic break play into it? Detroit was playing good before and hasn't been the same since. It's a fair thought. I would put more merit into it if it didn't happen 4 years in a row. Right?
Absolutely. And the Olympic break didn't put this team together. And it is just coming apart at the seams, how gutless and how mentally weak that they are.
Ray, if Ottawa would make that trade, I would cry tears of joy. Lucas Raymond for Brady Tkachuk? Where do I sign up?
I would run naked through the streets.
Oh my goodness gracious. Should Larkin have the C removed, since fans think he's not the right guy? Who would be the replacement? I think that Mo Seider would make a really good captain, personally. That's one man's opinion, Mike. What to do with Dylan Larkin, Mike? He's over the quote unquote prime age in the National Hockey League. He has a no trade clause, a full no trade clause. I don't know. Maybe from Dylan Larkin's standpoint, it's yeah. You know what? I'd like to go someplace else right now. I don't know. He is what he is. I hate to sound like a broken record, and you guys can say you hate Dylan Larkin and all that stuff. If you haven't figured it out now, you're never going to figure it out. He is who he is. Mike, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours today, and he confessed to me. He said, dude, I used to hate when you talk that way about Larkin. I have no choice but to accept it. And I was like, well, that's very nice of you. And this is what I threw out there, Mike. If you put Dylan Larkin on a contender, okay, and I know this is going to come as no surprise to you, I used the Habs. I said, if you put Dylan Larkin at center between, say, Doc and Demidov, or even you move Newhook over and you put Larkin on that line, Mike, I'd run around with my pants around my ankles. That would be unbelievable to do something like that. To be your 2C, to play a supporting role, to have the complete game that he brings to the table, I would cry tears of joy. But that's what he is. That's what he is. He's a 2C guy. We've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah, he's a 2C guy, and this is going to probably shock you and anyone that knows me that I'm actually going to say this. I'm not trading him, and I'm not taking the C off of his chest. I like what I'm seeing out of him. He's got a peg leg right now, and the guy's out there playing. He's doing what he's trying to do. He's leading there, but I wouldn't trade him. At his contract, which, Sean, you know I swore up and down and I hated. I said it was a contract that was going to bury the Wings. it is unbelievable. I
Mhm.
wouldn't trade it because what are you going to get for him? And what are you going to get a second center that you're going to like that can do what he can do at that price right now? I think it's a steal of a contract. He, just like DeBrincat, just like everybody else on this team, Raymond, they need more supporting people around them. They need top end guys to come in here and actually be elite forwards, and you are going to have a good team. But I don't trust that it's going to happen. But the point was Larkin. I wouldn't trade him, and I wouldn't take if you're going to take the C off his chest, trade him because you're going to demoralize the guy and he can't play here.
Our buddy Austin, off season should be interesting. Do you totally tear it down? No. Do you trade one of their core four? Do you get these lazy vets out of here and usher in our team of 22-year-old 200-foot prospects? Do we try to make a big trade? Only sacred cow is Mo, in my opinion. I agree with you. I think everybody else is up for debate, up for question. And I think, Mike, here enters the interesting point, because a lot of people said to me today when we were talking about this, well, you got to remember Kosa's coming, and not that longer after that, Augustine. And I know I've said this before. I think a lot of people have thought that Augustine is eventually going to be the Vasilevsky, and maybe it'll be Kosa that is the Ben Bishop, that he'll carry it for a little while until Augustine is ready. All right. But here's the interesting thing. How much better are they going to be than what John Gibson has been this year? And I'm not being funny when I say that. Mike, in my mind, John Gibson is the Detroit Red Wings MVP. And nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. It's an aberration to a far greater overall rule. And so that's the question that I ask. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Let's see what Kosa has. He's played real well in the AHL. But legitimately, how much better is he going to be than John Gibson? And that's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing that's brought is I think that's brought a lot of the delusional people out. If you take Gibson out of here, or even give him what his average stat might be from years past, we're not even we were out of the playoffs months ago. What he has done, and it was why you say he's the MVP. But I don't. The thing is, I can't answer is I don't know what Sebastian Kosa is.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And I mean, he could come in and they could play well in front of him. And I have no freaking idea, because we have zero to go off of on his NHL stats.
Ray said this would be really funny. If DeBoer was still available, do you think McClellan would be here? Could you imagine Pete DeBoer coming here? Here's a guy, played in Windsor, a lot of local ties. That was my first boss, Mike, in junior hockey. I'm a big fan to this day. You know that. I got sucked into his team a couple times, except 1 year. I wasn't a fan of his. I'll let you guess what 1 year that was. Obviously started his coaching career with the Whalers before moving on to Kitchener and then the National Hockey League. Boy, that's a good question. I don't think he's going to give up on Todd, for what it's worth. I don't think he's going to give up on Todd. We'll wait. I don't think this is the Darsh situation yet. Darsh needed a fall guy for what he didn't do. And Patrick Waugh fit the bill based on what the Islanders weren't doing the last few weeks. And Mike, you and I talked about it early in the year. He had them overachieving most of the year. That is not a very good roster. So I think that their GM, Matthew Darsh, needed a fall guy, and Patrick Waugh was the fall guy. I really firmly believe that.
That's a great saying, because I didn't understand it whatsoever. It's another coach with a lame roster, has them in contention. At the time he was fired, were they in third place in the Metro, or were they just outside of it?
I think they were third. Yeah.
Think about that. That roster, the only thing that roster has on the wings is Sorokin. That's it. I mean, that's a bad. This is what pisses me off the most about the Wings. When we start talking about it, all these teams are so bad.
I know.
They're so bad. You know what? And I'm going to totally go off kilt here. What made me mad the other day, I almost threw my phone. they want people starting to talk about if there were play-in rounds for the NHL playoffs, and they put it up there. Sean, I'm like, who the hell wants to watch those teams play? If you can't make it in the top 8, you're awful. I don't want to see this. But anyway,
it couldn't be as bad. It couldn't be as bad as the Montreal Florida game was for a majority of that game last night, though. There's no way it could be as bad as that.
Well,
no way.
You weren't watching Detroit Columbus.
Well, there's that too. There's that.
That was so bad. What did we compare it to? A bad ECHL game?
A bad ECHL game. Yes, a bad ECHL game.
You know the difference was what it cost me to get into that bad Wings game. I had bought 4 tickets to the ECHL game, 4 hot dogs, 4 beers, 4 popcorns, 4 nachos, and still had enough money left over. Oh, and I didn't even mention parking.
See, you and I, you know how they have that in baseball? You just brought something up. You know how they have that 999 challenge? You and I should do a 333 challenge during the playoff. Let's think of something. 3 beers, 3 shots, 3 beef short ribs, 3 sausages. We could think of something, right?
So we got. So I could bring 3 gluten-free beers. I'll bring the tequila. We'll do three tequilas.
All right.
We got to get 3 sausages.
Okay.
3 short ribs.
Yeah.
What would be something else? Because we have to equal what out to 27, right?
I could do 3 Durocs.
18. All right. We got some. I'm trying. Or wings. Some wings.
Yes, Durocs. That's what I told McCarty. So McCarty, and I shook my fist at him for this. He's all in on the Sharks if the Red Wings don't make when the Red Wings don't make the playoffs. So he's all in on the Sharks because Griff is there. And I told him I can't root for the Sharks because they did my friend wrong. But he said, all right, bro, come over. Let's do the wing thing again. I said, well, I'm not going to make 1,000, but maybe Mike and I can figure out a way how to make 500 wings or something like that. I think we can figure it out.
Can we wait till he's there before we start cooking all these wings?
Yeah, that's a good
I don't want to get backed out on. By the way, you mentioned Durocs. Have you found them yet?
No, I'm going tomorrow.
Kroger.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I love when you and I'm going to go to my place tomorrow, and if they're not there, I'm going to go to your place. Sorry. I'm going into your backyard, and I'm picking daisies out of your own backyard, man. I'm sorry.
Go for it. I bought 10 racks the other day. I've got 10 racks sitting in my fridge. I bought them all. I told you I left the 2 smallest ones for the peasants.
Raymond has been horrible. He sits in his spot on the side of the net and does nothing, barely takes anything to that, not even shots. I cannot figure that guy out, but Mike, I'm getting very close to the point in time in saying he is what he is. He's a guy that's going to show up, and then you're not going to see him, and then he's going to show up, and then you're not going to see him. But by the end of the year, he's going to have pretty good numbers. That's kind of what Lucas Raymond is in my mind. How's that?
So Raymond is another one of these guys, Sean, that needs someone to play with. He's had no one to play with that's going to elevate his play. There, imagine him, let's say maybe with a Robert Thomas, a guy that's already there, but we wouldn't give up prospects. We would not give up prospects to get that guy in his prime under contract here.
Austin, it's going to come down to the last game because the universe hates us. Wouldn't that be something? Against the ECHL Panthers, right? That's our last game against the Panthers, right? Pittsburgh lost Crosby and Malkin for some games, didn't lose its spot. Edmonton loses Draisaitl in his move to tie for a division. Detroit hasn't lost anyone in drops because they're soft, right? I'm not going to hesitate to say it anymore. I don't know how anybody could argue otherwise. To fall like this multiple years in a row, the same time of year, Mike, when playoff hockey starts, that's softness.
And to hear on the broadcast last night them bring up the woes of all the Red Wing injuries. I don't know where they stand right now, but when got hurt at that point, they were they had the least lost man games to injury in the NHL. So just stop it.
Yep.
It's not about the injuries. It's about who's on that roster.
Sabres with a 1-0 lead early, by the way. Wings get killed in the dot night after night. There's no question about that. I don't think Detroit is a place free agents want to come to as they've been rebuilding for years. Why would you come here? I'm not being mean. And I love it here. It's fantastic. It's home. I never thought that this would be home at this point in time in my life, but it's home and it's going to remain home and all of that stuff. And but why would you want to come here? I'm not being funny. Like, Mike, honestly, why would you want to come here unless they're giving you something that you can't get elsewhere? What would be the impetus to come here? I'm not even being funny when I say that.
So here's my plea. Steve, if you're watching, I know you're watching because you love us. You're watching us. Hire me and Sean. Let us do your recruiting. We will bring them in. We'll bring the free agents in. I'll take them to the casino. I'll show them all the ins and outs. I know the good happy hours at all the good restaurants down there. And then we'll cap it all off at Sean's house with a barbecue. And at the barbecue, after the Durocs are served, they will sign in barbecue sauce your contract. That's about it. Other than that, what would it be? What would it be? Why else would you come here?
I don't know. Kyle said, funny how the fans wanted a D-man at the deadline and now finding out goal scoring was always the issue. I think both. I really do. I like Falk. I like Falk. I thought that was – I didn't have a problem with the signing. Mike, you and I talked about it. I didn't have a problem with the signing. I think he fit a need. I think there's still a need on that blue line. There's no doubt about it. And there's still a need. We talked about this last week. It was funny. All these people last week were killing the bottom six. And I said to them, and I said to you, can we talk about the top six? Can we legitimately, let's talk about the top six. All right. How many of those guys do you give an emphatic thumbs up to? So there are roster holes aplenty when you're talking about the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah. You look at the lack of goal scoring. And the one thing I'm going to say, Sean, is I think we were going back and forth with someone, and it was just, if you're not going to be skilled, if you're not going to be good at the game of hockey, be hard to play against. And this couldn't be like, you want to come play Detroit because it's like a night off. And I'm being honest, that's now you're trying to be fun. They're not throwing checks. Sean, I looked up, I was just interested in our boy MBN, right? We throw those initials around, right?
Yes.
He's played 12 games this year in the NHL. Do you know where he still stands this day as far as hits on the Detroit Red Wings roster?
I would say he's up there. He's got fifth.
15th. He's 15th. You got to think he only played 12 games. He only played 12 games.
You think
and
I'm joking?
This is against guys that have played all year.
It's insane.
There is a problem here. And that's what it is. You can score goals, you can do it, but if you're not hard to play against, you are going to lose in the NHL, especially in the playoffs.
Bubs TTV 19 said Red Wings don't have a Schaefer or even a Barzal. I like Matthew Barzal. I'll take Alex DeBrincat. And I think his numbers suggest that as well. I will take Alex DeBrincat. Okay. But what Barzal has like 70 points right now. Schaefer is a unicorn. Period. End of story. It was funny because I was somebody else we know. I told you we had a little bet, Ivan Demidov or ASP. And it was funny. I said, well, neither one of us are going to win. I win the bet because no human being could say that there's any comparison between Ivan Demidov and ASP. But Schaefer by far is the best rookie that's out there. Period. End of story. Historic year. As good as Seider is, Schaefer's next level. But I'll disagree with you on the Barzal point. I will. I like the guy. He's having a nice season. But when you're talking about a guy that pumps 40 goals and is going to have, average a point a game, Mike, I think advantage to DeBrincat there.
I'll give that. I'm right behind you on that one.
Yeah. Let's see. Hubie is with us on Tequila and Meat. All right, Hubie. Pretty soon we're gonna be doing that. Blue Jays had 77-cent hot dogs last night. What would be your limit? They sold over 100K hot dogs. Do you know what I love the most? Do you know what I love the most about going to Jays games, though, Mike? Are those outdoor vendors where they sell that big giant like kielbasa for like $5.
Yes.
That's like I don't need to go inside. I go like I get this big giant kielbasa for $5. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, when we were there, we went in for a second just to say we were there, and then we went back out to a bar and grabbed some of those kielbasas.
3 Long Islands. Now Austin's trying to get us killed. When we do our 3-3-3 challenge during the playoff, now he's trying to get us killed. What do we do, Sean? Do you teeter a retool or do a full rebuild because this core isn't it? It isn't. I don't think when somebody said earlier, tear it down. This isn't a tear it down type of situation. Mike, I don't know. Guys like you and I have been saying this literally for 2 years. I think now is the time you have to get inventive. Now is the time where you have to not be afraid to trade some of your hold near and dear to your heart prospects. See if you can get some veterans in here. I don't think this is a total retool or tear it down to rebuild it back up at all. I just know this group and Mike, based on what we've seen so far, what's coming up ain't it. I think you have to get creative. I really, truly do. What say you?
I say the retool and the rebuild has to come from within the executives in this organization and the scouting, because if not, Sean, they love their prospects. They're not going to get rid of them. They love their guys that they brought in. They're not going to change their direction.
And I
get back to the point. Yep, I'll get back to the point. Was it 2 years ago when I said Yzerman needs somebody to help him. They need to direct him, to tell him no, to tell him this isn't working. We need to change. We need to go this way. We need to get rid. Until that happens, they are on course for what they think is what they're supposed to be doing, and no one's telling them otherwise.
That's why. Did we talk about the Friedman thing last week? I don't even remember. Did we talk about
Yep.
I'm going to say I do not believe for a second that he's going to accept being kicked upstairs. Predominantly only kicked upstairs. I don't believe it for a second. And again, I don't think Friedman is a guy that throws things against the wall. I do not believe for a second that Steve Yzerman will be okay with, I'll just go upstairs. I'll bet you anything that it would be a Ken Holland situation, that he'll smile at the press conference and say, yeah, this was time. And a few weeks later, he'll already be on the phone talking to somebody else. Maybe, Ray, your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs and taking over, because whether people know this or not, and Mike, I'm sure you know this, Steve Yzerman's reputation is impeccable. It is. I mean, from his work with Tampa to, what he did with Team Canada, although I'll say it again, and I said it day one, your job is made easier when you have a not ready for primetime Hedman and Stamkos. And I don't think that Brisebois gets the credit that he deserves for going and getting some of those nails guys, like going and getting Big Rig, Mike. Because what was the thing? Remember when they blew that series? Was it against the Jackets, the COVID year, and we were down the basement? And we were with Mac, and Mac was like, they just have to get over this hump. They just have to get over this hump. And they finally got over that hump, and you know how that ended. And a lot of it had to do with getting some of those sandpapery guys. It really did. And I think Brisebois did a good job of that.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I just don't want people to misinterpret I don't want to get rid of Steve Yzerman. I still have belief that this guy can do a job. You just can't do it as a dictator with a bunch of yes men in there. I want everyone below him gone and someone in there to help guide him and correct him on some of his ways. That is it. But you're right. Back to what you were saying, and you asked me, I does need more credit for the way that thing went for in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Somebody asked about Connor McDavid, and this is going to be really, really interesting, Mike, because his 2-year extension actually kicks in after this year. So he's going to be and I can double check this to be sure if you want to get some thoughts on this. So he is not going to be UFA until the new contract starts this year. So it would be 26, 27, 27, 28. You're talking the 28, 29 year. And by that time, I believe he's 32 years old. So I understand people trying to connect the dots and everything. I think there's a reason why McDavid only did, if you remember, Mike, that 2-year contract, because he knows, A, with the cap going up, he might get more, and B, and most importantly, if he doesn't think he's going to win a Stanley Cup in Edmonton, mark my words, he's going to a place where he thinks he can win a Stanley Cup. Mark my words. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. Talk amongst yourselves, Mike, just for a second, and I'm just going to fact check myself. I'm almost positive that's his contractual thing.
Yeah, and you hit both those on the head. One, he doesn't think he might get more money. He knows he's going to get more money the longer he holds out because that cap goes up, right? And then he's going to win a cup, and there is going to be an offer that is going to be made with someone that is going to be in a better position to win the cup, because I lay money on Edmonton every year because of the story and the way it's going. And I laid money on him this year because I thought they were going to go after Bobrovsky, because I thought that'd be the greatest story ever for him to bring him back. They lost their chance when they got rid of Skinner. You're welcome, Pittsburgh. But he's going to go somewhere because Edmonton, again, just can't get out of their own way.
Mike, I was correct. The new contract kicks in for 26-27, 27-28 at 12.5. He becomes UFA for the 28-29 season. He's still 32 years old. So
now here's the question.
All right.
As that approaches, does Edmonton dare deal him instead of losing him?
You know what you just brought up? You brought up the Tarek Skubal situation now, didn't you?
Basically,
you literally brought up the Tarek Skubal thing. Hubie asked a good question. Cato O'Rourke is able to apply for exceptional status in OHL. If he is from Texas, that is under the WHL. Isn't that the case? I'm not sure what the situation is, but I know for a fact he can do the OHL. He can do the OHL route. He's going to be the 7th guy to earn exceptional status. So I don't know if there's some kind of loophole that allows him to do that, but I know he's going to the OHL for whatever it is. Hubie, I wish I knew the particulars, so I don't. But yeah, obviously he's the 7th exceptional status guy, for what that's worth. Why do NHL great players make the worst coaches or GMs, yet grinder types seem to succeed? I've heard many theories on this, Mike. The theory that I've heard is it's hard for the exceptional to not understand that everybody else around them is supposed to be exceptional. That's a theory that I've long heard. I'm just telling you that's what people have said. Take it for what it's worth.
That's a great theory. I like it.
Austin, we know they need 2-3 top 6 guys depending on their confidence in Casper next year. I still can't figure that out. Mike, I think it's safe to say that's one that you and I both missed on. What they really need is a drive the net power forward. Raymond is a perimeter player. Their biggest need is 100% someone the style of Bertuzzi or Sam Bennett. Remember when I told you I thought Tyler Bertuzzi would have been a great pickup at the deadline? I really did. And I wish they went and got a guy like that. I do.
But again, the way they've built this team and the way they've missed mentally and the way these guys don't play the game physical, it is in a guy's DNA to go to the net and get there. You look at Hubie sent us the comment, and you send a couple clips of that Connor McDavid goal. That's not something you teach, Sean. That is reckless behavior on the ice, going to the net like that. It takes balls, huge balls. You know what, Sean? You know what I'm talking about? Huge balls.
Yeah, you want to see him again?
to be able, and I just don't know if there's anyone in this organization that can identify that. It's you can't teach it. It is something that is there, and they have missed every time in getting anyone that plays with guts on this team.
Garrow said the Wings are done. Dougie, let's be honest. They need a Plandowski to drive to the net, right? They need a Plandowski to drive to the net. Does Ovi retire after this season? How fitting would it be if his last home game would be against Crosby? That would be funny. Why would you come back if you're Ovi, right? Like, honestly, he's a statue half the time anyway now.
But he could see that I don't mind Washington. I keep saying, and they've got a worse chance than Detroit to make the playoffs. They're the one team that scares me because I think they've got the experience, they've got the guys, they got some goaltending in Logan Thompson. They just are missing a couple of pieces. Obviously, I like the coach, so he could see that, and I think next year would be his last run. And I would bet Washington puts a little bit into their pockets and puts some guys on that ice for him.
DMAC said teams. Brian, thank you. DMAC said teams are not afraid to play Detroit. They look forward to playing Detroit now. Props to DMAC for saying that. And you know what? Here's a guy that lives and breathes Detroit Red Wings. You got to trust me when I say that, okay? DMAC is a guy like us, Mike, except he grew up in Tomato Town. Good kid from Lamington, who was so happy when Jacques Demers came here and they had the 87 and 88 years. And we talked about all those teams, and we talked about Proby and Joey, and he got a chance to play with those guys and get to know those guys and everything. It hurts him to see what's going on with this team right now. I'm telling you right now as his buddy, it hurts him, and it hurts him to say things like that. But what's the old saying? Some guy came up with it a few years back. Facts are mean. Facts are mean. They are. Boy, UP in the house. Look at we heard from Doug Garrow and now Corey Markham. UP in the house. No one plays heavy on this team. Fact. Okay, so here's two coaches. Two coaches with a hell of a lot of success, I might add, in Doug Garrow and Corey Markham, okay? I'll go back to what I said earlier in the show. Are the last three coaches on this team all wrong? Was Jeff Blashill wrong? Was Coach Lalonde wrong? Is Coach McClellan wrong? Are they all wrong when they talk about going for it? If not now, when? Paying the price? Doing those little... Are they all wrong? No. The answer is no. Your eyes aren't deceiving you, man. They really aren't. You got two, prominent coaches in the chat talking about it too, for goodness sake. If San Jose gets in the playoffs, what chance do you give Celebrini wins the Hart? I still say no.
It's a great year, but they got to give it to Kucherov. I'm sorry.
I agree with you. Oh, I'll give it to Kucherov tomorrow. Just you wait and see. Does Mazur show up next year? He really doesn't produce. That's the kind of guy they need, though. Let's be honest. Like they just kind of go to reckless abandonment, right?
I don't need Mazur to score 20 goals.
Nope.
I need him to throw 20 hits a game. That is it. Play your bottom six role, and let's bring in some top six guys.
Sean Parker in the house. What's up, Sean? Nice to talk to you the last few days. Dougie said they need to make a trade like the Panthers did with Tkachuk. Go get Brady Tkachuk. That's where I used the term earlier, Doug. Get creative. Get creative. I think they need to get creative. I think they have to not be afraid to move on some of their guys. All right. They did it with good old Elmer Soderblom, who they were trying to, shove up our behinds for about 2 years, but we could all see there was not much there. And that's what I would do. You got to find a way to get creative. Everybody and their brother knows that Brady wants out of Ottawa. I mean, his old man made it crystal clear on that podcast. Is that something Ottawa would want to do in the division? I wouldn't want anything to do with that personally, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It's sad. I grew up in the Yzerman era. He was my first Red Wing jersey as a kid. I really wanted him to work. Do you think this tarnishes his legacy? Do you know what I would say to that? It'll pass. Alan Trammell. How many people remember Alan Trammell was a disastrous manager for the Detroit Tigers? Remember, Mike?
Yep.
Didn't have a prayer with what that roster was. Didn't have a snowball's chance in Hades, okay? I don't think people remember that, but yet I think some of the Joe Dumars stuff still lingers, and that's kind of a bummer. You're talking about arguably the biggest icon in our lifetime, Mike. Steve Yzerman is arguably the biggest icon in our life. Fair statement?
Fair statement. Come look at my wall.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I don't know.
I mean, just look at the guys that are still supporting him, saying he's doing a great job right now. You're not tarnishing this guy's. If you haven't tarnished it yourself, to me, it ain't getting tarnished.
Get a Braden point. I'll be that guy. We need more Canadians. Does Michigan get the double title of basketball and hockey this week? I think if they beat Denver, the answer is yes. I do. I think if they beat Denver, the answer is yes. That's going to be proved to be arduous. Denver kind of has that been there, done that mentality, Mike, and I think that's what I would worry about. And then, the fun begins because, the big rumor is that Michael Hayes is going to go right to Montreal. And then what's going to happen with TJ Hughes? There could be a contract waiting for him someplace. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how quickly things happen. I hate that the potential lasting memory of Kane's time in Detroit may be that stupid penalty. Just what?
Can I ask, is anyone else bothered by his response to it, or is
Yes.
it just me? I mean,
Yes.
the penalty was awful. His response was ridiculous and a joke.
For all the hoopla about the Russian Five, why don't the Wings let them take a shot with the organization? Somebody brought up Sergei Fedorov to me. Would Sergei Fedorov be willing to come over here? And how much has he followed the NHL? Because he worked in the KHL for a long time. How much has he legitimately followed the NHL? I don't know the answers to those things, all right? I think a lot of those guys went back to Russia because it's their homeland, right? I'm not going to begrudge them of that. You know what I mean? There's some guys that didn't want to go back, and there are some guys that did. And I don't, you want to go home, right? That's never bothered me much.
Can we get out of this? Like, this isn't like, I want a Michigan man. I need a Red Wing man. Let's get someone that can build a team. It doesn't have to be a freaking Red Wing.
It's funny how Toronto, Boston, and Detroit haven't been the same since losing Bertuzzi, and Bedard is having a great year with him. I like Tyler. I liked him in junior. I remember him playing in Owen Sound. I thought that sandpaper kid, when I was doing Whaler broadcast, Mike, he just a son of a bitch, pardon my language, come playoff time. Like just that's a kind of guy. And the numbers responded in kind. They really did. Adding Brady to the Wings would be like giving the Tin Man a heart.
So good.
That's
so
good.
good.
I love Brady Tkachuk. I love
the Tin Man.
I love Brady. Sergei Fedorov won't somehow conjure up top 6 talent. Enough with getting the band back together stuff. Just friggin' win. Couldn't agree with you more. Austin, I think we are so on the right page. People talk about the bottom 6 and everything. Listen, they're short on exceptional players, period. They are. You need those grit guys. You need those glue guys. Mike, you need the Josh Anderson from your Habs. You need the Jake Evans from your Habs. Okay, you need those guys. But you know what you need? You need Slavkovsky. You need Caulfield. You need Suzuki. You need the future of the NHL. Did you know that's Demi Dove's nickname? Greatest nickname ever. Cole Caulfield calls him the future of the NFL.
That's good. I love it.
On Instagram, they showed a flashback of the MSU championship game versus Boston College. How the hell? Gosh damn, does time fly? How the hell? Like honestly, how the hell was that 19 years ago? Like what? Like Beaufait's thing. Like Dougie Garrow from Northern's in there. Mike, that's 35 years ago. What the actual hell? How is that possible?
We're getting old, my man.
Yeah. Michigan State coach next U.S. World Juniors. How long before he's an NHL guy or AHL guy? That's a really good question. I'll ask him. I think he's happy for now at Michigan State. I think he really wants to win at Michigan State. And I mean, that's not to say if some job presented himself, he wouldn't jump. And I'm not speaking for him here. I hope you know that. I think he really wants to win at Michigan State. How's that? I think if they won at Michigan State, all bets are off. You got to remember, this is near and dear to his heart. Like that's near and dear to his heart. So I think that counts for something. Mike, I can't believe we did it again. We went like 50 minutes. Do you want to talk about your Habs before we go?
I've got you on. I could get anyone if I can get you on my bandwagon.
You did get me on. I gosh damn it, you totally got me on. I told you I saw that thing. One of the Canadian writers said, "So what's up with this? The Habs are too young stuff. They got a guy closing in on 100 points. They have a guy closing in on 50 goals. They have a perennial Norris Trophy candidate. They have another Calder guy who could be the best of the whole lot. Yeah, too young. Oh, by the way, they have a goalie who's been unconscious for over a month now."
And they've got their next goalie right behind him.
Can I tell you what I love the most about Dobish? Can I tell you what I love the most about Dobish? He's cocky Dobish right now. I think that counts for something. Yeah. Did you see yesterday? No, sir. No, sir.
So
they're going to hurt me again. They're going to hurt me.
You know what? They might. They might.
I'm totally going to blame you. No accountability whatsoever.
You're not going to respond to my text for months.
Yeah, we're going to be done for a couple months. Mike and I are taking a break. What are your thoughts on Martone so far? He looks comfortable. You like the Corey Perry comparison. He was so good. The weekend that I was up there, the Notre Dame weekend, he was so gosh damn good. And let me tell you something, Mike. I don't know if you've heard the kid talk. You want to talk about a kid with poise. Yeah. Like I did like a 5-minute interview with him after the game. Absolutely positively poised. Absolutely positively poised.
Yeah. He was averaging 9 shots a game his first 3 games or something stupid like that. He's playing with his size. I like what I'm seeing.
Do you remember way back when I told you the Sabres had a better roster than the Wings while Adams was the GM and they were in the cellar? Mike, I'm convinced that you and I were on the Sabres before anybody way, way, way back when. That's like in the fall. You could go back and watch these things because you started to see it come together and you were like, look out. Look at. Do you remember when we did that? It was like every week the Sabres keep winning. The Sabres keep winning. Yeah, we'll see. Doby wants the ring. I love cocky Dobish. I'm not going to lie. Cocky Dobish is great. How good is the kid joining the Habs after the college season? He's good. Michael Hage is good. He's one of those guys that I think when you look at the redo thing, Mike, I don't know if right now he can jump in. A lot of people are assuming he can jump in and just take that number 2 center role. I don't know if that's plausible right now. I don't, but I know that's eventually what they think him to be. Now, the kid they love, I told you, the kid that they love is that Karovsky guy from
Lewandowski.
Russia. He's Demidov's buddy. Friedman said last week that the Habs like basically blew everybody away on that pick, and that was like the steal from the last draft and everything. And you might remember that clip where Kent Hughes called Demidov and said, "Tell me about this guy." And Demidov's like, "He good, he my friend." Okay, so you think we should take him? Yeah, good, he my friend. Okay, we're gonna trust you on that, Ivan. He good, he my friend. And so he good, he my friend. So that's how it works. Caulfield not making USA seem to light a fire under him. Can he get 50 and catch McKinnon? Please do it soon. I'm so sick and tired of the waiting. And Slavkovsky has stopped playing hockey and is just trying to distribute the puck to him every time he's on the ice. And it's getting old and
overtime.
Yeah.
That overtime power play he passed. He got 15 straight passes.
Shoot the puck. Jeez, oh, Pete. Jim, I think a lot of people think that he could be a solid 2 center in the future. I'm not sure he is right now. But there's a lot of speculation that he's going to replace Newhook on that second line. We'll wait and see. So it'll be interesting. And it's just one more good piece up there. It's amazing how that happened. All right, Mike, who ends up winning the Atlantic Division? Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I just think Buffalo's going to cool off. Montreal is not ready. Tampa is gonna win a few, and they're gonna get it, and we're gonna get a delightful Montreal Buffalo first round series.
I think so too. I really truly do. And I'm sincere when I say this. Lord forgive me. I like Dobish over Lions. Or what did you call the other guy? Unka Lunka Luka
Ukulele.
That would those two fan bases. Can you imagine that? Like the fans in Buffalo are going nuts right now, and obviously the fans in Montreal. That series would be unbelievable.
Yes,
unbelievable. Really would.
The games in Buffalo, I can't wait for. I just think that is going to be like a college-like atmosphere. I think that's just going to be amazing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
No. I mean,
All right.
we're getting into the end of it here, and there's 4 games left. We think we know what this team is. Let's see what they give us these last 4 games. They basically have to go 4-0, which I don't think they can do, but we'll see. They'll go 4-0, and so will Ottawa. That's why we know the world hates us.
You know, the funniest thing is, Mike, somebody pointed out to me that this could be Steve Yzerman's best year. The high water mark is 2 years ago at 91. This could be his best year. They could also finish 12th. This could be their best year, and they could finish 12th in the conference. Think about that. Like how effing crazy is that?
So yeah, you put that out in that text thread the other day, and I just kept thinking about it. I said, but that is in itself telling that when you're having your best year, but everybody else just got that much fucking better.
Yep.
That's a problem. That is a problem. It's hip, hip, hooray for us. And that's the problem I have with this organization. They're going to pat themselves on the back for that, Sean. They really are. You know this team will.
100%. Montreal could win the division with less regulation wins in Buffalo and Tampa. Valdez said he chose Detroit over Minnesota and then immediately gives up 2 runs to them. Boy, Tiger pitchers love putting guys on base. Boston has done an amazing rebuild. Jim, I tip my cap to Sweeney. And it wasn't even a rebuild. He retooled again. This wasn't, remember, if they got rid of Pasta, then that's a rebuild, right? And Mike, we were all waiting for them to get rid of Pasta, and he didn't do it. And we were like, is he going to do it on the fly again? He has done it on the fly forever, and he keeps them relevant. I have no choice but to begrudgingly give that SOB of my most hated team, and I'll never forget his weasel rat face after the Habs beat them in overtime in Game 6 in 91. Well, I guess we're just going to have to go to Boston and beat them. And then the son of a bitch did it. So screw you, Don Sweeney, and then screw Bob Sweeney as well.
Hey, here's the thing. They're gonna be exposed in the playoffs, Sean. They're doing it with fucking mirrors right now. But you know what they do? They play fucking hard. They play hard fucking hockey is what they do. So here you go. Go steal someone out of that organization that knows how to build a roster and bring them here and let him work with Steve. Like it's got to be something. Watching that, like it's like watching Washington a couple years. Like, what is going on here? How is this team? They play freaking hard hockey the right goddamn way.
Yep, no doubt. All right, buddy, I'll see you soon. Well, we're going, you and I, it's supposed to rain all day Friday, so it's a perfect day to go to a new butcher, buy a bunch of meat and barbecue some crap.
I love it. I can't wait.
What time are you coming over, 11?
11.
All right, I'll see you at 11, and Jim said it's time to bring Yzerman out like Old Yeller. I'll do it, Pa. All right. See you guys. I'll see you at 11, pal, on Friday. Okay.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.